Taking a big drink. Hey, it's me. It's Brian. Welcome to Street Fight. I am here, sitting in my office, which is just another room in my house. Chilling out. Got a Yoda behind me, but I got frustrated and started over. So, no Yoda until later. But it will be in this office someday. You will see a Lego Yoda in here. I hope everybody's doing okay. I am here for the night or amount of time that, you know, I'm here for a decent amount of time, I guess. Maybe like an hour, 2 hours. I'm just going to sit and chat with everybody, maybe have a little bit of fun. I'm looking at the app and stuff like that. I see A1C ACAB. I'm just going to call you ACAB, god damn it. Because it's hard to say. I see Hootie Owl in here. I'm looking to see if I can read the chat, but I can read the oh, there you are. I see you. Hi Hootie Owl. Hi Wibbity Wabbity. Hi A1C3A1BEE2. Pyongyang Jim. ACAB. Yeah, we're going to start calling you ACAB from now on, which doesn't help you at all. Pyongyang Jim is Dracula. Zach H, good evening. How's everybody doing this weekend? You guys having well, fortunately for some of you, you don't live in the Midwest or the Northeast and or the entire country except for like the bottom part and the west part. Freezing cold. I didn't take a walk today. I got pissed off. You ever wake up like just pissed, like you're pissed off at the fucking weather and you're like, I don't have to fucking deal with this shit. You know? I'm not gonna fuck. So I went to a Christmas fair today with the old with the wife and Erica. We went, we looked at a Christmas fair, saw a few things. There was a guy that was selling knives. This motherfucker was selling Boker knives that are like $100. He glued rocks to them and was charging $325 for them. Bonkers prices at this place. But I was there because my wife did not think that I was going to want to do this, right? So here's what happened. She goes, hey, you see this Christmas fair? And then, no, I don't want to go to that. That's fucking crazy. What kind of person would ask me that crazy question? And, but they asked me, and I did it, and I went, and I actually had a good time. We, there wasn't nothing I wanted to buy at the Christmas fair. I don't like, what's the word, man? I don't like ornaments. I don't ever want to buy another ornament. It's the same thing I had with the situation over there. Hey, Ferncliff says it's 68 in sunny Southern California. I think me and the family are going to come to California very soon. Going to spend some time in LA, some time out in the desert, Joshua Tree, and just hang around. I think we're going to be there soon. It's going to be beautiful. Because it sucks here. It's 28 degrees right now. So don't like it. But yeah. So yesterday I'm like, wrestling's on. I bought the pay-per-view and we're watching the wrestling and my wife's like, yeah. You want to go to this Christmas fair? And at first I was like, no, but then I'm like, she hang around this house while I watch wrestling on a Saturday night. So, okay. Yeah. Gluing rocks to knives. What Garbage Safari's asking, and people don't understand. This guy had knives that were pretty good knives. You know, a Boker, which isn't like the most expensive knife, but I had a Boker Kalashnikov. It was $35 and it was a switchblade and it was really sick. This guy had what appeared to be one of those fucking rock tumblers. If people remember like a rock tumbler, which I honestly have no idea. What the Ferncliff, I will not be in California anytime before Christmas. This will be an early January situation. But what I'm saying is the guy had some pretty good knives, probably $4,500 knives, but he used one of them rock tumbler gimmicks, which I don't even know what the fuck they are, guys. I don't know what the magic is with it, but then he glued it to the knife and then charged another $225 for it. In which I'm like, I don't know, man. I like the original model knife because that's just the kind of dude I am. You know, I would like something special, something that looks cool, but I also like, why the fuck would I want a knife? Like, why would I want you to glue a rock to a nice knife? Also had these Zippo, these like, they weren't Zippo lighters, which I've thought about buying 100 times, but I quit smoking. So what would I ever need a Zippo for? You can't light candles with a Zippo. No, I fucking have to stand outside in the break area at some fucking warehouse. Like, you need a light? You need a light? Just lighting people's cigarettes. But I always wanted one. I always wanted a Zippo, learn the Zippo tricks, you know? But okay, Scarab's Feast said lighting dynamite on a windy day. Winners and Losers says to toss onto the trail of a gas leading to the barn you're torching. And yeah, and that's the other thing. Pyongyang Jim says get a handmade knife from Street Fighter. I have knives that people have sent me that are handmade that are very cool, and I like them. I don't exactly know. So Zippo made money clips, and this guy seemed to like glue two knives and to a money clip, and then also and they're sticking out. They don't close. Doesn't fold in. There's two knives. It's a money clip, and it's got a knife coming this way and a knife coming this way, and then there's a rock glued to it, right? And so it's like, what the fuck? I can't even put that in my pocket. It'll stab me. Walking around, he's like, Zippo made these. And it's like, then quit gluing rocks to shit, man. Nobody wants a rock knife. And nobody, listen, that thing that polishes up the rocks, that fucking thing, that's just a toy. I don't even know how it works or why the rocks look so cool. But, yeah. I don't know. I might buy a Zippo still because y'all know I like to waste money. I'm like a big time money waster. That it's like I'll put a zipper in. I'll put a Zippo in my pocket, and then maybe during the summer somebody will be doing a fire and they don't have one of them long fucking lighters, so I'll just take a Zippo and phew and light it. That would be nice. So yeah, I'm not getting into turquoise jewelry, Hank. I see you in there. Also, Goblin Lurker says orc weapons. I don't need that. Yeah, I think I do. I'm going to get a Zippo and see if there's a Zippo that has a knife, like as part of it. Because if I can justify as many knives, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can justify buying as many knives. It's like Legos. It's like, well, I like them, so I'll buy them. I just can't justify buying fancy lighters. That's goofy. You don't want to buy a fancy lighter. So, oh my God, Garbage Safari says, I'll send you a Zippo. I went through a phase and bought like a dozen. That's fucking crazy. I saw a Zippo one time recently that had a naked lady on it. And I came real close to buying it because how goofy is that? That it's like those pins, the writing pens that you would hit the button. That's the other thing I saw, by the way. That's the other thing I saw. Guy was selling fountain pens, and he was really putting the hard sell on me, right? It's like, these are nice. This is a nice fountain pen, handmade. You go out, yeah. It's got the pointy boy. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Like, it is like a pen, and then it has a metal, like, kind of triangular situation, and it's a fountain pen. I don't know if you fill it up or if you dip it in pen. Guy's giving me the full court press, and I'm like, dude, I'm gonna tell you something. I even when I wrote stand up, right? Or when I wrote for the zine, I never used a pen. I hate pens and I hate pencils and I hate paper. And I'm a fucking type guy. I just type. I have like an old fucking moleskin that I was like, I'll carry this moleskin around and write down my jokes in it. Write down jokes. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm writing down my jokes when I'm doing stand-up. Oh, here's an idea. I'll write that down. And I just stopped using it. I was like, I'll just, you know what? I got a smartphone. I'll just type it in Google Docs. That'll work too. You know, I'm just not a pen guy. I don't want to play with pens. I don't want to use pens. I just don't have, I don't have that thing. I grew up when you had to use pens in the past. So, yeah, not a pen guy. Not going to use a fountain pen. I think I'm going to answer the phone now. There is room for more callers on the queue. So if you ever wanted to call in, you know, there's a couple of spots here that you can, you know, there's only one spot now. Oh, well, hello. You're talking to Brian on Street Fight. Who am I talking to?
Hey, Brian. This is Alex from Irvine, California.
Alex from Irvine, California. I wish I was there. You're on a picket line? Are you the guy in the chat that has a picket line?
Yeah, I am.
What you doing? What you got striking up there?
So I'm a part of the University of California student workers strike right now. We just finished a week. So, yeah.
Why didn't you call? Are you the person that was supposed to get a hold of me and say you were calling so you didn't have to wait for me to talk about fountain pens and Zippos?
Oh, I did.
Oh, you did?
I know. I like to hear you talk about Zippos. So, I mean, I listen to Street Fight, so I know what's up.
Yeah, I was like, I saw the, I didn't check my DMs. My DM's been outrageous lately. And so sometimes I just don't even look at them. But now I'm looking at it, and it's like, let me look here. I'm gonna go in there. Oh, yeah, you're right there. Okay, well, I appreciate you waiting for me. And I did pick you up first. You called first. So you're at the USC, and I didn't think you'd still be on strike right now. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
What are you guys striking?
So basically what's going on here is, so everyone's aware of how expensive it is to live in Southern California, right? I mean, it's like one of the most expensive places to live in the country. But basically student workers here get paid, or like academic workers, so people who already have like degrees and are teaching classes, like TAs, or like people doing research, which gets grants for the university's funding, you know. The like average pay for a teaching assistant here, so people who teach multiple classes a week, teach undergrads, and have more instructional time than like professors do, make around like $23,000 a year. Like living in LA.
It's always shocking.
Which is not.
It's always shocking every time, Alex. It's like we hear that shit. Like we hear every time, like people that work as like a, you know, at a college, you're always like they're like, yeah, we make about, and then in your mind, you're like $50,000 a year. Look, not a ton of money, but it's an amount of money you can live with, right? That's what I would think. I'd be like, yeah, it's not enough to pay your student loans or anything like that, but it's $50,000. And then every time the person's like, yeah, we make $4 an hour. It's like, how the fuck do they get away with that?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I don't know. So like I rent from my university, like they have housing for graduate students, and I pay like 55% of my income a month back to the school. So like they pay me and then I pay them back in rent. It's like really heinous because they know how much I pay them, you know. They know.
Yeah,
I'm paying them for like a 9x10 room in a shared apartment, $1,000 a month, when they pay us like $23,000 a year.
It's a shared apartment, and they're just like, yeah, you pay 55% of your income is what you pay to move in. There used to be these apartments. I had a girlfriend who lived in Section 8 apartments. And, like, guys that I went to school with would get so fired up about it because they'd be like, she only pays $8 a month rent. And I'm like, she lives in Section 8 apartments and she's 17 with a kid. So let's cool out a little bit here.
Yeah, I have a friend who just had a kid, and like he's living here. He's working towards his PhD. You know, he's teaching like several classes. He has like a side job. His like wife works like doing like overtime every week to make ends meet, and like they're renting from the university. It's crazy, just like what people are going through. Because people, I mean, I don't know. People have like an idea about grad students. I feel that like, you know, we're losers, which we are. You know, obviously, like I'm studying like some bullshit that I want to do, but like at the same time, we're like basically teaching all these undergrads like more than professors are, like hours wise, and like grading everything, preparing classes and stuff. And like we get paid significantly less than them, and it's labor, you know, it's like intensive labor because the state, like Felix says on Chapo, you know, like the state sort of abdicates like all of its like social work onto teachers and professors and stuff, except at like giant school systems like California, that like work falls to TAs, not professors.
Right.
So
they
we're like
don't,
therapists for them, shit, you know.
right. Yeah. Because I think most of the teachers I had in college were not tenured or anything like that because they don't offer that anymore. They can definitely do the thing where it's like they can do the thing where they're like, well, you know, you're not quite ready yet and you'll get tenure, but all these jobs are taken up by people that are making $26,000 a fucking year. You know, like, why would they give anybody tenure? Why would they make anybody an employee or whatever it is when you're a professor? Like, there's no incentive for them to do that. So it's like, here is, I want you're supposed to go and study this thing. It's a noble thing to learn, but everybody hates people so much. Everybody hates college students so much that they're just like, fuck them, you know? They don't deserve anything.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's wild. I mean, but I mean, I think, I don't know. I really hope that like people pay more attention because like this strike is huge, you know, it's like 48,000 people across the state. And like, it's the result of like over a year bargaining across 3 different unions, all under the UAW. And like, we've been bargaining for over a year to try and get, you know, a fair wage to be able to like lift people out of rent burden. So like, and like a really huge percentage of people pay like over 50% of their rent to back like every month out of their paychecks here. And, you know, like as academic workers, that just like isn't like, it's not tenable, you know, like we're struggling. Like I go to the food pantry every week to get food and stuff. And I think it's like totally opposite what people think we live like.
Yeah, they think you're like, they think you guys are like pampered and that you're just throwing a fit. And it is mostly people who didn't go to college that don't understand how college works. You know what I mean? Like they don't understand because it's the same people who are like, oh yeah, these liberal and like communist college professors. And it's like, I was in a sociology program and my teachers were pretty much like a lot more conservative than me. You know, like I was probably,
like our sociology program. Oh, go ahead.
I was pretty far to the left compared to like teachers that were teaching classes about like social stratification and shit like that. Like I took a class called social stratification, race, class, and gender. And it's the type of class that conservatives are losing their shit about, you know? And this teacher was so conservative, not like a Republican. I would assume she still votes for Democrats, but I would guess that she was not a Bernie Sanders supporter. She and I talk about the labor theory course I took when I was in college with the fucking libertarian fedora guy, vapes, you know, all that stuff. Like I took that course and it's just like, I'm a sociology major. All of my teachers are supposed to be fucking raging communists. And I didn't find any to be that way. I had one teacher who really liked me, who would sort of sit and talk to me about, well, I mean, her son mostly. Her son went to rehab, and she wanted to talk to me about her son going to rehab, so I had to go sit in her office during office hours and be like, well, like, people handle rehab differently. You just got to be open. It was very weird situation, but I liked the lady, so I didn't mind helping her deal with her heroin using son. But yeah, I felt like really shocked at the amount of like teachers who were. It's one of the reasons I quit doing political science. I started school, I wanted to do political science, took 2 classes. I was like, this is all conservative shit, man. This is not what I wanted to do, you know?
Poli sci is full of sickos. I did a poli sci in undergrad, and it was horrifying for the most part. I don't know. I had like people sitting in front of me in class, like,
dude, you're not
horrifying.
doing what you think you're going to be doing when you take it. You know what I mean? Like, you take political science and you're like, we're going to talk about political systems and we're going to try to, develop our own political system and all this stuff, or our own opinions. But it's like, that's not what it is. It's like you go in there and you're just talking about the same shit that we have going on now and how they do stuff. And I found that so fucking frustrating. But so you guys also, I saw the news stories earlier in the week about UPS is not delivering there, or being asked not to deliver there.
Yeah, UPS has a solidarity strike with Teamsters has a solidarity strike going on with like the UAW workers represented here, and we've actually been picketing drivers that cross the picket line, so like preventing them from doing deliveries at the behest of like the local Teamsters steward here in Irvine, which has been super cool. They've been so supportive. We've also had like a lot of solidarity from like other local unions. So we had some like food workers unions drop off food several days. It's been awesome. I mean, it's such like a showing of like how like together, as if we stand together as workers, we can all like make it through and make a better life for everybody. I don't know. That's what it's all about. Like we did like a big like video the other day for the lecture, or I think it's like adjuncts or whatever, and like at the new school in New York who are on strike as well. They just started striking this week. But it's cool that there's like this labor movement which is happening across the country right now. So I don't know. It's just been very heartwarming to see the solidarity from other unions in the area and across California, and then like giving some of that back.
It also has to feel pretty sick to like I just as you were talking about it, and as I had seen the Teamsters and some of the stuff, it's got to be pretty sick if you spend your time on social media a lot and you hear how people characterize like what's a worker and what isn't a worker and shit like that, to just have like auto workers coming and standing side by side with you because like, everybody wants to get paid fair. And I always find that so one of the most frustrating things is like when I was climbing poles and shit like that and roofing, I didn't think that college professors were human garbage or pieces of shit. I admired them because I thought they were smart. It was the same thing with like Harvard, right? Like the grungiest, most like white trash guy still respects Harvard. They don't find out that it's awful most of the time. Like my father-in-law is like, yeah, he went to Harvard. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Harvard's a bunch of fucking idiots. And then, they're like, you're not following their rules of engagement at that point. It's like everybody at Harvard's a fucking idiot. And you're like, wait, no, you're not supposed to be allowed to say that.
Yeah, and I don't know. I hope that like I hope that this union drive and like hopefully like a push of unionism across like colleges and universities will hopefully like help shape the future of discourse around like leftism and unionism in this country, because I feel like there was like a real reactionary conservative moment in academia not too long ago, but I hope that people who are not like invested in the movement or weren't before this strike or they're like whatever strike they have going on in their college campuses, I hope that they like feel the solidarity from like other workers and like put that towards like advocating for unions and like labor in their work in the future. Because people always talk about how like academia or whatever is elite and like it sets the conversation or shit, but like if that is true, I hope that we can repay that solidarity by like, doing positive work for unions that are, of other workers and other, movements.
Yeah,
and
because
like
you're
hopefully
looking at
change the tide of how people look.
you're looking at like Starbucks. It's like that almost feels like dominoes just falling. Uh, I mean, I
Yeah.
think it's sort of slowed down now, but there was a period there where it just felt like a bunch, like everything felt possible. And I don't think we're past that moment yet either. I'm not saying that I don't think this stuff is possible, but I do think like it needs to be juiced every once in a while. And it does to me seem like the USC thing is like something that's being picked up in the news because like I mean you told me about it obviously in DMs when we talked, but like I have seen independently of you, I've seen stories showing up online and stuff like that. So it seems like a pretty positive situation out there. Is there a strike fund?
There is a strike fund. So basically, we were I don't know. I don't know. We weren't initially like I don't think planning for it to go as long as we think it will now. But I don't know. I don't know the end, and I think people are pretty stuck. We're out here until we get what we need because the university and like their bargaining team hasn't moved on any of the major economic issues yet. Like they're offering us a 7% raise, which is nothing.
Yeah.
So I think we're out here still.
Dude, they love doing that shit. Business for some reason, business and college is business. They love to do a percent. They just love to throw a percent at you, and that percent always under 10%, always. And you're supposed to be like, well, 7% of $26,000 is. I don't know. I don't know, but it's fucking $500. Who wouldn't do better with $500 more dollars? It's like eat shit, motherfucker. Yeah. You know what I mean? Me.
The lowest raise from that was, I think, $120 a month more for some people.
Yeah.
Like it's like insulting,
Yeah, my wife gets raises every year, and my wife will get her raise every year, and it'll be 10, maybe 12%, and then she does the math, and it's like, that's fucking $250. Who cares? It's more than that, but you know what I mean. It might be $2,000 a year more, and it's like that's not fucking real money, man. And then you're a dick if you say that. You know what I mean? Like you're a fucking asshole if you say $2,000 isn't money. And it's like, no, it's not. It's not real money. It's not going to change my life even a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, like I totally agree, and I think we got to change that because people like it's not anymore. Like maybe 20 years ago, $2,000 is real money, but it's not anymore. With inflation, what it is and shit. But there is a strike fund if people want to donate it.
I'll get it out there. I'll let you get it out there. But there's definitely two things where it's like there is the here's 7%, here's 8%, and that's all the money that they're willing to part ways with. And the other thing is if they're accepting 7%, they can give you more because they're happy with 7%. They're happy. They're going to walk out on the other end of this with 7%, and they're going to be super fucking happy with that. And it's like, no, we want you to not be happy. But have you guys tried saying that in the bargaining thing, saying like, we want you to not be happy with the amount of money you give us, actually? So let's start there first.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's come through pretty clear. So actually, like, the university's been committing a ton of like illegal practices, which is why we're on strike. We're like able to strike legally because since it's like technically we're like government workers in some way. Like we're employed by the state because it's a public school. Like it's not an NLRB strike. It's done something with like the California Board of Labor or whatever. So since the university and the state are breaking the law in the way they bargain, committing unfair labor practices, we're like legally allowed to be out here for as long as we want. Like withholding
You're
our
not
labor.
getting paid.
So like they've been
and
like
Christmas is coming up.
well, yeah. Well, yeah, not as if anybody has money to buy Christmas presents, you know. But
Yeah.
yeah. Essentially though, like they've been trying to like offer raises to different departments, saying, "Hey, like we'll give you $10,000 more a year if you don't like stand with your fellow workers, you know. Like don't worry about them, we've got you covered," which is like super illegal because it's like going behind the union's back and stuff. It's shitty.
It's so gross.
Yeah, it's fucking awful. But there's a strike.
Well, how much are you
if
asking
people are
for
interested.
money-wise? Like what kind of raise are you guys asking for?
So we're asking for a $54,000 a year minimum salary,
Sick.
which
So,
is the
like,
lowest
double.
amount to. Yeah. So it's also the lowest amount necessary to bring everybody out of rent burden. So it's like not out of nowhere 54K. It's like specifically like to lift all workers for the UC out of the federal rent burden standard, which is over 30% of their rent goes to, or 30% of their income goes to rent every month. And it's also like University of California, like LA and Berkeley are like the top public schools in this country. You know, if they want to like claim to be the best, they need to like pay people accordingly. You know, if we're going to be providing a world-class education or whatever to their undergrads, they need to be paying us as if we're doing so. So like, it's not even, it's not crazy. And that's 54 is still less than most people with bachelor's degrees make in California, you know?
And they're making a ton
still,
of fucking money. These colleges are making a ton of fucking money, you know?
They're basically hedge funds at this point, you know? It's all investments and none of it goes back to making everything better. Like they raise tuition every year and we don't see any of that. We don't see any of that at all. So
you see what tuition is. You see a motherfucker is paying, you know, $80,000-$90,000 to do 4 years of college, and then you find out that a lot of the people teaching them are making $25,000 a year, and you're like, well, where the fuck is this money going? I don't fucking at Ohio State. I walk by Ohio State a lot. I went to Ohio State, and they're just constantly building new shit on campus, and it's like, guys, take a fucking year off or something and maybe throw some money to the employees that are here.
Yeah. Pay some people, please.
Yeah, please. But what's the strike fund? Where can people donate?
So if people want to donate, they can do so at fairucnow.org/support. That's also like our main website, which has like all of the information about what's going on here, how much people are paid, what we're asking for, bargaining updates. Also, if people want to reach out and like talk to people striking, they totally should. You know, it's easy to find on Twitter. Everyone's happy to talk about it. Yeah, I don't know. It's super awesome to all the positive press and support we've gotten. But we're going to need to keep going until they pay us, because I hope that like this strike will like lift other people, you know, let other people know that they can do the same thing in their workplaces, because it's big. It's a big deal. And yeah, I don't know. Academia is a fucked up industry and we got to fix it as best we can.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is. But I appreciate you calling, and please keep us keep me updated. Call me again. I'm curious. I'll be here for the next. Let me look. I'll be here on Sunday nights. Well, maybe not next Sunday night. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Probably though. Until the 18th will be the last show I do this year on a call-in show. So give me a you know, keep me posted, please.
Yeah, and also to your Columbus listeners, I also play music in a metal band, and we're going to be in Columbus on the 9th of December. If anyone wants to come through at Ace of Cups, Infinite Island, we're playing with Liturgy. It'll be cool. Come see your metal shit.
December 9th. I'll try to get out there. It's a Friday. I don't work Fridays.
Yeah.
So maybe me and the
I
old
got
lady
you on the
can
list.
show up.
Okay.
All right. All right. I thank you for calling.
Well, thank
Bing
Have a good one.
bong. You too. You too. Oh, I'm going to answer the phone next. Yeah, they're striking down there in Cali, you know. Hopefully I'll get I was going to say hopefully they're still striking when I get down there, you know, if we decide to take a trip out there. But actually I don't hope they're still striking. That would be fucked up. I don't want them to still be striking. And thank you for calling. Who am I talking to?
Hello.
Hello.
How did I get bumped to the front of the line?
I guess people hung up or something. I'm not really sure, but you're here. Who am I talking to?
This is Tracy from Texas, aka Dracula.
Oh, I know who you are. Hey, what's up, man? How are you?
Hey, I'm checking in.
To Texas. I am not coming to Texas anytime soon. But if I do, you'll be the first to know, Trace.
Hey, please do. Lots of things have changed in the last 4 or 5 years. We all know that. But you're welcome anytime, and I'll show you around.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, next year there's going to come a time, I think, where I decide to go out on the road again. But I you know, I still don't know what I would do now if I did it. So I sit around and I think about it, and one of these days I'll figure it out. So what's going on, Dracula? He goes by Dracula, everybody. I'm not just making fun of him.
Dude, the Dracula thing is really funny because it was, I don't know, maybe like a year ago, and I call in. It's when y'all had a screen. I don't know. It was like a different screening system, and I said this was Dracula calling, and so I guess it just shows up. That's who's calling every time now.
Yes.
So, but anyway, it's.
Yeah, I don't know why we had the screening on. I'm looking. I don't want it on, although. I mean, because it didn't ever work. I don't think. Like, if somebody wants to get through, want to just lie and get through. I'm not really sure that the screening of this thing where you just sort of leave a message and then the computer types it out. It's like, I don't know. I just don't think it ever worked. So I'm just like, fuck it. And you know what? Bubba the Love Sponge doesn't do it. So I'm not doing it either.
Right. Like, you know, I can call in and say, you know, this is fucking Obama or Joe Brandon or whatever. So.
And then end up being Hitler. And that would be a huge fucking problem if Hitler called this show.
Totally. No,
I would hang
big
up
ups
on him.
to the.
To tell you the truth, Tracy, I would 100%. If Hitler called into this show, I'd fucking hang up on him, and I wouldn't even think twice about hanging up on Hitler.
It's the new, like, if you invented a time machine, would you go back and kill baby Hitler? Like, if you had a podcast, would you hang up if Hitler called? That's like the new paradigm.
Yeah, and I would. I mean, I guess, like, I would have to find out what, I don't know, because, like, if you did have Hitler call into your show and you're like, hey, how's it like, you know, how's it going? And he's like, oh, hey, I'm Hitler. I'd be like, why did you do that stuff? As
anybody
I have
with
a clip
an Austrian accent, you can pretty much cut them off pretty soon. Austrian accent, so.
Yeah, I have a clip that Bubba the Love Sponge said where he's like, I have it on my phone. It's one of my favorite clips of any of the shock jocks. And he goes like this. And I don't like Hitler. I think he's actually one of the biggest dicks that ever lived. I'm like, thanks, Bubba. He was a big dick.
He weighed in an important topic there.
Yeah, he's being controversial. So how's it going down there in Texas?
Hey. No, big ups to my people out there striking in California at the University of California system. I'm a former TA myself, went to graduate school here in Texas. That shit don't pay. I think we made a little over $1,000 a month.
That's not even like, what is that?
Like, it was just enough to just like afford the very, very basics. If I didn't live at home still, like I moved back down to Central Texas and I moved in back to my mom's house to go to grad school. Like, if I didn't live there, I don't know how I would do it otherwise. And this is like, what year is this? 2022? This is over a decade ago at this point. And it's even worse now. I don't know. I mean, these guys, these ladies, these non-binary folks at all universities across the country should be doing the same, because they ain't getting paid shit for the amount of work to do. I had professors like, it would be test day, exam day, and they had not literally prepared the exam, and we would have to like go into their office the last like 30 minutes before class time and like help them create questions and answers for the test and stuff, and proctor the exam. And of course we're all grading the exams and stuff. I was a history grad student, and it's just like, especially at places like California, I was at lowly Texas State University, and these guys that like in San Marcos, Texas, just south of Austin, about.
Well, can I ask you this?
20 miles.
Can I ask you this? I don't know if you know the answer to this. Is there a justification for paying them that little amount of money? Is there like? No, I've always talked about the lady that at the cable company who justified turning people's cable off because they made a promise and they didn't follow through with their promise. Is there like a reason to pay people like poverty wages? Because $25,000 a year is poverty wages. That's you can't live on that. That's impossible. Or are you supposed to have like a partner?
I mean, the reason is capitalism, dude. I mean, I don't know how many times I've used you and Brett's little gif of the Means TV promotion about that's a capitalism. I mean, these systems as they exist would not, I mean, they're all about exploitation. I mean, that's the reason why most people, I mean, when I graduated high school and first went to college, between now, the people that graduate high school and go to college is a totally different thing. To get any kind of non-menial job or career, you're expected to go to college, and it's all about exploitation.
Yeah, I wonder if, it's something that always, it's interesting to me because generally they will have a justification for almost every job, right? Like they have the justification where like working at McDonald's sucks and it's fucking grueling, but it's supposed to be for teenagers, so too fucking bad. Hey, you know what I mean? Or roofing is a really hard.
Go to McDonald's at 11:45 in the morning, like on your. If say you get off a little bit early for lunch hour, go to McDonald's and order a fucking McRib or whatever right now. See who's serving you at McDonald's. It's not teenagers. In my area, It's Hispanic ladies. It's it's people that never went to college. And those people deserve, I don't even know what they're getting paid right now, but they deserve what we call a living wage. Is probably not even a living wage anymore. they deserve at least that. So
I don't think we even know what a living wage is at this point. It really feels like there isn't. I've talked about this in the past. When I was, probably about a year ago, I think, maybe a year and a half ago, where I started, I make pretty good money, not bad. I guess you would say I make about a middle class wage, and my wife makes about a middle class wage. So we're okay. And there was this period of time,
Right.
like a year and a half ago, where it was like, wow, it looks like I dug my way out. You know what I mean? And it looks like I'm able to live comfortably. And then boom, whatever happened fucking happened. And now inflation. I just went to the grocery store today, and I got to tell you, as I was scanning stuff, all I heard was $6. $6. I was like, everything's fucking $6. Why is everything $6? I was like screaming about it because everything's just double.
We are involved every day in class warfare. People do not realize that by the prices that corporations set, by monetary policy, by banking policy, the working people, the working class people, the poor people, the people that make this country run, that make the world run, that produces everything, that grows everything, that teaches our students, they're the ones responsible, and they get the shaft. Ultimately, that's what we're all here about. I mean, we're all leftists, apparently. And
well, I'll say this: when you look at something like when you hear about Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, not as rich as he once was, but he made one really bad investment.
Kill Jeff Bezos.
But I want to say this, like these guys are making more than ever, and then we're paying more than ever. So that fucking money is just going right into these fucking guys' pockets. That's what's happening to the money.
Yeah,
everything's fucking $6 now because all these guys are making more money.
Yeah. And it's not even the Jeff Bezoses or the Elon Musk or the Koch brothers or the whoever. It's the other 100 people that make up the so-called 1% that are unseen and unknown, that basically rely on all of us making money for them.
I mean, somebody like the Sacklers who have so much money that they will never need money. No Sackler will ever be poor. Has wreaked countless amounts of havoc on this world, and they're going to be generationally wealthy. For there isn't anything we can do. Oh, I mean, there's a few things we can fucking do. I'm not going to say them, but there isn't anything we can do.
And that's really the point. Is there are things we can do. As Americans, we have a century of conditioning and a completely evolved police state that prevent us from doing so. Basically, acting out in any way against it will mean at least jail time, possibly death. I don't want to sound so severe, but that's really what it boils down to. And I don't know. I ain't gonna talk too much about it right here, but on the podcast or this call-in show. But
anyway. I think the thing with me is like, again, the Sacklers are like my really big example, because it's like I think if you asked 100 people, 80 of them would say the Sacklers shouldn't have money. They shouldn't have like generational wealth for what they've done.
Yeah.
You know, and eight,
Yeah.
like 10% of people might say, well, they worked hard and they figured out how to sell heroin legally and they deserve to have. But it's like, I think, you know, back in the day, back when I was in school, what you're kind of saying is something that they said. And it's just like, listen, you can get fired up about Bezos or Musk, and they're some of the richest people in the world, and they started out on third base or whatever. I think.
Yep.
I don't know. Fucking who knows? I don't know what Bezos comes from.
Always
Yeah.
base.
But the richest people, the most nasty are the ones that are you know, there's a difference between being rich and being wealthy. And wealthy means that you have this like generational amount of money that your family has never had to do anything and is never going to have to do anything. And all the people in the family get a trust and all of that fucking shit. And that's what like that's the thing that I think about like often is like, I don't think people know what rich is. Like, no, people don't even know what rich is. Like, when you start looking at, there's a classic like meme of like how big a pallet of $1 billion would be. People don't know that shit. People don't know.
Yeah.
People don't know how many
still at
people
my
are
entire
born.
house.
Yeah, and people don't know how many people are born and they never have to do anything ever in their lives. And then they're like, oh, you know, they went to Harvard and all this shit. It's like, well, I could have fucking gone to Harvard if my dad was a rich guy, you know. Like, I could have done any of that shit. But, you know, it's so frustrating. I fucking hate that shit. Also, Psychic Gasoline said, if Hitler paid a living wage, I still wouldn't like him and think he's still a dick. Yeah, me too. I mean, Hitler, I think, is just going to be one of the biggest dicks. You can't name worse dicks. And yes, I know, direct action gets the goods. I just don't want to get pulled off of online. So I'm not going to say what I would like to have happen.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, in the 30s and 40s in Germany, you probably actually made more than working class people in the Western world these days. So
True.
They had to.
Well,
otherwise, the socialist revolution. So
sure. Well, Tracy, thanks for calling. It's always good to hear from you. You're a sweet person.
Thank you, sir. Peace out to everybody. Fight the power.
Yeah. All right, we are. Yeah, I just got fiery there. Everybody, were you excited that I got fiery? It's been a long time since I got fiery because I'm generally an extremely negative person. Answer the next call. And hello, who am I talking to tonight?
Hey, it's Hank from Los Angeles, California.
Hank, I thought you were dead, so it's good to hear from you.
I often wonder the same thing. Yes, I took a few weeks
Hank
off.
Dead, or did Hank get a job?
Get a job? No. Yeah, no. I'm. I was calling a whole bunch. I was calling every week, and I figured, because of the, I thought I was supporting, but I also realized I was maybe in the way, and I've been kind of in a bit of a, try to screw my head back on straight. I'm always battling my brain and the way my body works. So just took a few weeks off, but here I am.
Yeah, it's man. Good to hear from you. How you doing, man? How's life treating you?
Doing well. I'm turning the corner, maybe, coming around. All this talk about cost of living and stuff, and when I was working at the Young Turks, I was making around like $42K a year as a video editor, maybe a little more than that with overtime, and I was barely getting by. I just happen to have kind of a lucky apartment situation in terms of my rent. Like, it's still over $1,000 a month, but I'm not, I can squeeze by. And my roommate is cool if I miss, like, he's okay with me taking on rent debt. We're practically married. We've been together for like 10 years.
That's sweet though. So that's sweet, I'm I wouldn't be. I'd be going nuts. I'd be like, that son of a bitch, Hank.
I don't blame them. I tell them all the time, "Kick me out, brother." But we get along, right? We look out for each other. We're pals. We're
It is
so
nice.
whatever.
If you live with
Sorry, it's
somebody,
stressful. I stress a lot. Yeah.
yeah, if you live with somebody that you like, that is like really priceless. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the same way. I mean, I've been living with my wife for like 20 years, maybe more than 20 years. Yes, definitely more than 20 years. And
Oh yeah.
it's been my daughter's been here for 18, and it's truly pleasant. But there was a period of my life where I had roommates and stuff like that, and it's like, it's kind of a hassle living with other people and their shit, whatever their shit is.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially none of them whom you're having sex with. Like I'm very much past the roommate phase of my life. I'm in my early 40s, but I live in Los Angeles, and I'm a burnout creative in Los Angeles. So I'm struggling. It's going to be a while. I gotta get some shit together before I can afford to live by myself or have a partner. You know what I mean? Like get back into the dating pool and lock some poor person down and with me. And
Yeah, hey,
yeah.
it happens when it happens. Actually,
Yeah.
I love it when I try to give like I've even had people message me about like dating advice, and I'm like, dude, you're asking the wrong motherfucking guy about that, because I would have been terrible at it, number one, and number two, I just never did it. I've been with my wife since 1 year after high school.
Yeah. So your advice should be like, well, you're going to be able to vote in a couple years, and you should, get a ride to the roller rink, borrow someone's car, or I don't know. I don't know how 19-year-olds date. It's been a while for me too.
I didn't fucking remember. We saw the movie Rushmore together and the movie Go. We saw Go and Rushmore together. That's 2 dates I remember. And then on our 1 year
Those are good.
anniversary. Yeah, they're good date movies. Hey,
Yeah.
that's just me. She paid, but I didn't have the kind of money to pay for that. And then on our 1 year anniversary, I went to the department store and I got a credit card. They gave me like a $200 limit, which is, come on. So there was this hotel by our house where we grew up that was like a high rise, but not really like a high rise, probably 20 floors. It had a pool. It was a Hilton, and it was tall. You go up to the 10th floor or whatever like that. And I got us a room for one night at that hotel. And it was like, I felt rich, and we ordered pizza. It was just like, it seemed like such a rich thing to do. And then it's like, I never paid that credit card ever. And it just kind of went away. That's a big lesson, is like, if you just wait, they just go away anyway. But yeah, we stayed in a hotel. And then after that, it was kind of like we moved in together. Yeah, I've been talking about us moving out a lot lately because my daughter's 18, and I truly do not. I mean, honestly, she could stay here for the rest of her life. I'd be happy with that. I love it, but I'm like trying not. I don't ever want to chase her out, which I don't think she would ever perceive that. But I'm like I want to make it great to like live here, So I'm trying to be like out of her business and stuff like that, because I mean, she's going to college next year too, so she might be gone, being taught by somebody that makes $25,000 a year.
Yeah, you're obviously a pretty good dad, I'd say. Your daughter and you seem. I didn't listen to the episode with her, by the way, so hopefully I'm not wrong here. But no, you seem to have a great approach, and she will probably, like those parents that are like, it's 8 years, you just turned 18, get the fuck out of here. Or I heard a story about a guy whose family. Was that you? Or I don't know. Yeah, it's all. I don't even remember what the story I heard was, but it's just like madness when people go real strict at that 18-year-old thing now, or they start charging rent immediately and threaten to kick
That's
them
what
out.
mine did.
Yeah. Oh no, the
So
one I heard
mine-
was they were at a restaurant. They went to a restaurant with this person for their 18th birthday, and then they like embarrassed the 18-year-old who didn't have money and I think was had disability, and then forced that person to they didn't let that person order because she wasn't going to be able to pay for herself at her own birthday dinner on her 18th birthday, some crazy shit like that. But I think there's just so many like maniacal old thinking in our culture through this work cult society that used to be, or that kind of still is, a slave empire. This like the attitudes about work and about where people's value sources. And I mean, myself, like I was raised by like a conservative father. My mother didn't have politics or something, but I sort of started with kind of an ambient conservative bent, and I went to school for capitalism. I ran a business for most of my 20s, and I've now I'm very, very far on the left, and I'm open to being persuaded more. And every little bit of history I learn, it just is so clear that the way to kill a planet is for what Europe did to the world, and it takes about 600 years. They colonized everything, they stole everything, they claimed up all the land, they enclosed everywhere, and that was it became our world we have now, where the only driving force is insecurity and fear and massive accumulation by those at the very, very top, and using mass manipulation of mass media now that we've got global interconnectivity and all the stuff. And they'll both point at your air conditioner and say that that's proof that you're actually just a spoiled baby. Meanwhile, your people are dying because they can't afford health care. I saw this, I don't know if it's going to make any sense, but there was this Instagram video of a turtle. A little cute turtle was on its back and there was a bunch of other turtles around it. The little turtle was flopping around. It couldn't right itself. And of course the other turtles come over and they flip it over. You've probably seen it. Really cute, adorable. We all feel good when we see that. But like, what do humans do? When a human's on its back and it needs help, the people who can help that human charge that turtle money. Like, can you imagine if one of those turtles was like, oh, good, give me some fucking money before I flip you over. This is a great opportunity for me to like pad my bank account. Because that's what happens in America. If somebody gets hurt, a rich person's going to get more rich. And that's absolutely fucking sick. And that's not even, go ahead.
I think about that, they call it the Protestant work ethic. And I think about, like, I turned 18 and, I didn't have a car because, my parents wouldn't let me they wouldn't let me get one. They wouldn't let me get my driver's license until I got good grades. And guess what? I never got good grades. I mean, I got enough to graduate, but I always had like an F or a D on every report card because I hated school. I didn't like doing it. And, they kind of, they wouldn't let me get my license. I turned 18 and they're like, go get a job. We need you to pay rent here. And I'm like, I mean, I don't have a car. How do I get a job? And they're like, I don't know. Fucking not my problem. And so that's how I ended up getting kicked out. I was gone. I was done. At 19, they kicked me out. I didn't even know what I was supposed to do. And I don't think they did it. I mean, I think my parents are fucking assholes, but I don't even know if I think they did it to be assholes. I think they might have done it because they think that they needed to teach me a lesson on what you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to carry yourself in the world. But it's like, I don't think that is some lesson that needs to be taught like immediately when you get older. When you get to be 18, 19 years old, like you can hold off on the tough love lessons for a while and maybe even just enjoy the fact, because I'm enjoying the fact that, my kid's here. She can handle herself. She can do all of her own stuff. I don't have to do stuff for her, and I don't have to like be on top of her all the time, finding out what the fuck she's doing. She's an adult. She's 18 years old. I don't have to fucking do that. And that's what I wish my parents would have done. And my wife's parents actually did the same thing. They wanted to, they were like, she's 18 years old, and they're like, here's your curfew. This is when we went home. And I was just like, fuck that. Move out. Like, fuck them. I'll tell you that there's a curfew because you're 18 and you still live at their house. And then she left. And, you get this thing where, like, why would you like want to have a bad like the way things are set up, that type of thinking right? That type of thinking was like so harmful to my parents' generation, because they just fucking felt like it was something they had to do. I know when I was back on Facebook, hey, this is a Fred Durst hat, brother. Don't you yell at me about the Yankees. I'm doing this for more of a Fred Durst reasons, but thank you. But anyway, I just think like, I don't know. I hated their way of doing things. And I find that like when I was on Facebook, a lot of the people I grew up with were doing the same fucking shit. And it really made me crazy, because it's just like, we know that is not the way to do things. We really have like this whole generation of people who are depressed and anxious and shit like that. And we should fucking try to do something. You know, we should try to do something different, make people's life easier. You know, it doesn't have to be hard. And that seems to be the conservative like ethos is no, it does. It has to be hard. That's the way life is.
Yeah,
life is hard.
Right, like video games, right? Like a hard video, like not everybody can finish the video game on hard mode. And there's a couple of psychos in the world, like I would say, what's her face, Elizabeth Holmes, for instance. She seems to have like the mental construction. I think that whole story is incredibly interesting, but she's like tailor-made for capitalism, sort of sociopathic drive. She obviously was willing to lie, willing to exploit people, willing to like string people along. There's a lot more to say about that, but it's a whole different topic. But like some people do okay in this crazy ass fucking society, because some people are pretty good at video games on hard mode. But like the insistence that everybody else has to also play on hard mode, on the hardest possible settings, when we could have, we actually have the ability to make this planet easy mode. This is I really think of Earth as heaven. Like they're really, especially like we're not going to get better than this planet. It's a beautiful, amazing thing floating around a sun. You know, it's just, and we're going to let these capitalist vampires kill the planet or kill the habitability of humans because they want to have money in millions of years. Like you guys were sorry. Like, I'll just ramble for another minute. Then I know you want to say something. The money that the capitalists are accumulating are like, what is that dollar? What is the $4 billion doing in a Cayman Island account or in value, in a stock valuation or whatever else? It's not serving that person. It's not getting spent. It's not circulating through an economy in any kind of way. The actual utility of that dollar is that it's preventing a poor person from reaching the minimum basis of their human rights and their human needs, and in order to maintain leverage over them when it comes to compelling labor from them, or from preventing them from having the energy or the wherewithal to stand up and demand for a better world and organize, because not everybody can work, and not everybody should fucking have to work. You know, like the amount of work we actually have to do in order to sustain a really like wonderful world filled with abundance. And I don't mean like we all live in luxurious mansions, but I mean we have abundant social connections and abundant warmth and abundant love and abundant security in terms of knowing that you'll have help when you need it, because only the wealthy are allowed to access that kind of abundance. And it's absolutely enraging. Sorry, I got to get back to doing my podcast. I just get excited to talk. Go ahead, Brian, your turn.
I will say, and this was something I was thinking about earlier too, and I fucked up and forgot where I was at, but I think that two things that are never, that I think need to change and that are never going to change, or I feel, negative thinking about it, because it just is something that it just feels like something that's a little bit hard to express. And one of those is, again, the 7% pay increase is like, we just got to do away with that. That it's not helping anybody. It has to be 10% or more in order to make a difference in somebody else's life. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because, and the reason you bringing up Elizabeth Holmes had me thinking too. Now, she's an insanely privileged person, all that stuff. I'm saying she was wrong and she committed fraud and fucked some people's lives up and shit like that. I will say they gave her 11 and a half years. in prison, and it's just like, when are we gonna sit down and look at like sentencing too? Like everybody gets like more than a decade, and like somebody on Twitter, and I wish I could remember who it was because it was it was a really incredible thing to say, but like that when another country sentences somebody to 3 to 5 years, Americans are like, that's it. And it's like, dude, there is almost no crime that should be more than 2 years. Like, there's and that's the way I think about raises too. You know, we are so stuck in a time when shit was just going up and up and up and up, and money stayed down, and prison sentences just keep going up further and further and further. 11 years for fucking lying. And again, she's privileged. But what does that say about people that don't have money or live? You know, people should be getting, like, if you do fraud and you fucking yeah, I mean, but even minimum security prison is like prison. It still sucks. And also, yeah, white collar criminals that fuck people's lives up don't need to stay in a nice little place. They can go to the same place and do their amount of time. I hate the idea of people spending a decade or more in prison for like almost anything, you know. So I don't know. That just came up.
Well,
I thought of it, but
yeah, that shows the punishment. That's because they wanted to punish her for 11 years, not actually serve society. So like rehabilitative exile, or what's the word? Or exclusionary. You know, somebody does something the society says you're not allowed to do. We're gonna exclude you from society for a little while. But in a rehabilitative model, you get therapy, you get all kinds of training. You have you develop some, like, maybe get to be able to do some personal growth that you hadn't been able to do. There's also flaws with those models as well. Leading towards abolition of prison is certainly what we should be shooting for.
yeah.
Although I am for putting wage thefters into prison for more than 10 years. That would be great. I'd like to see some CEOs
I would
behind
throw
those
them
fucking
in a
cages.
fucking volcano, to tell you the truth. It would be a volcano situation.
I agree. I criminalize wage theft. But like with Elizabeth Holmes, it's not like that sentence is designed to make sure she doesn't commit another fraud. It's not like she's going to pull off the same scam. You know what I mean? She's going to have to go get hired and go work with other partners. And now that she's famous, she'll be able to monetize it off her fame, which is another great
And
thing.
that's
in
another
this world.
thing.
She'll be able to write books and sell her rights to her story and all that kind of stuff.
Oh,
Go
of
ahead.
course. And that's another thing too. It's sort of like I watched a doc about this fucking cop, which, by the way, I don't care if he rots for the rest of his life, but it was in one of those Norwegian countries, and they accused him of doing some shit. I don't even know what the fuck it was, but like he got like 10 years, and there was like outcry in this Norwegian country, like 10 years. No, he got 20 years, which was the maximum sentence. They said that's the maximum sentence anybody can ever get is 25 years or something like that. And I'm like, that's the right way to be doing shit, because like we just, I mean, they throw poor people away in a deep, dark warehouse prison hole, and you know, they're not getting less than 10 years ever. It's fucking nuts. It is, you know. Oh yeah, Scarab V said they let Varg record albums in prison for murder in Norway. That is true. I did see that. They were just they're like, hey, you want to learn to cook? Do it. But you know what? That means when they get out, they got some shit to do. Like, they get out, they learn to cook, and then maybe they can live a life. We don't set that up in this country. You fuck up and you're fucked. Your whole life is just fucked after it, you know?
Yeah. Disposing of people, writing them off. A lot of that comes out of the hyper individualism that is baked into everybody's brains, which is completely destabilizing, because nobody can ever think of systemic reasons. But for instance, there is like examples of exceptions. Like I don't know the guy's name. He was a shooter in Norway, killed 50 something people. Really, really bad dude. And they had him away. I think the thing was, and forgive me if I'm missing the details, but I believe it was like 20-year sentence, and then they could renew a 20-year sentence if they chose to. I think you could make an argument for excluding someone who murdered 50 something people for the rest of their life. You might be able to make an argument that they might be safe to go back on the streets after 10 years too. That's the kind of thing like a government has a responsibility to find the exact balance. That's obviously sort of an outlier case. I don't, even in a utopian society, I think there's still going to be the occasional need to say, to protect people in our world, we have to exclude this person. And that means that this person does not get tortured. They do not get treated terribly. They should. There was actually, I remember a news story about, I want to say his last name was Breivik, Anders Breivik or something, where he was upset because his PlayStation was like, or he wanted a better video game system. And of course, to Americanize, that sounds like an absolute crazy thing that a prisoner is even allowed to have access to a video game system, let alone complain that they're not getting a good one. The point I care about in terms of this sort of extreme one is that give them, who cares? As long as the guy can't kill anybody, as long as the person is not in society and hurting people, let them live a life of comfort. Let them live relative, don't put them up in the Louvre or or actually that would be funny. They should put prisoners in like the Queen's Palace. Yeah, well,
or I don't know.
Sure.
Maybe you can stay in the Louvre. I don't know.
Yeah, but like in our world, we think of it's for us as punishment because it's about the demented psychology of a terrified colonizer brain. Like we the European people invaded these lands, slaughtered them, and every single generation as we expanded across these continents, North and South America, that were filled with fear because we knew we deserved to be killed by the people who were killed, who we were afraid of, not just the victims we imported to force them into bondage and slavery, but the indigenous folks who had every right to shoot you with an arrow because you had no business stealing their land. So fear is baked into the American brain. I see it. It just seems so apparent. I see it in my dad, who grew up in, he's a conservative guy, loves his guns. The more you learn about history, the more it seems just like everybody in this goddamn society is tormented by the crime of the lasting crime of colonialism and capitalism and the fear that's baked into our psyche. And getting rid of that is so hard. It's so hard, especially these days where we have nothing.
I also think when you're seeing punishments and stuff like as high as they've been, like, I mean, that is technically sort of the government or the state or capital saying what should happen to somebody if they're transgressive, I guess. And, maybe I was transgressive enough. Although, with my parents, one of the real big issues I had was that, they wouldn't let me do things. If that makes I wanted to do this thing where you go to school a half a day and then you go to work. And my dad's like, no, you're too good for that. And it's like, I'm not actually. I'm fucking here struggling. I can't do this. This isn't my type of thing. I just want to literally do anything else. I want to go learn how to work on cars. Nope. And they just didn't want me doing, they really just didn't want me doing blue collar work. I think they maybe felt shame if we went into blue collar work in a way, to me, like they had failed, which is, another weird sort of working class thing.
I've heard you
out there.
Yeah. I've heard you talk about that before. And I actually have a kind of a comparable cusp of class division or being on the class divides. Like, I actually was very lucky to have my college paid for in the late 90s when I went to school. I had a relative who had been a successful business person exploiting workers for profit. And they gave the money trickled down. The guy had $1 million or something bucks. At one point was the largest jewelry store in Iowa, which is pretty goddamn impressive. And so it was a jewelry business. And I had around $45,000 to spend on college, and it was enough to afford a state school education. And I was very fortunate not to have school student debt. for that. But during like growing up, we also were on food stamps for a good stretch, and I was like a scholarship kid at a like a fancy pants upper class school that for some reason my mother was dealing with like unregulated mental illnesses and stuff like that. So she was working at the time as a cashier at a grocery store, and she chatted up the headmaster of the school about her amazing sons, and she got us in there. So we were like the poor kids at like a rich kid school for a little while, and then they kicked us out in the middle. But yeah, it was goofy. It was just goofy. And so yeah, I've kind of been on various sides of the sort of wealth divide, but I very much understand kind of what you're saying about like things being beneath or below you. I was doing Postmates in Los Angeles for a few years, and like, I'm in my late 30s now, I'm in my 40s, but this is a years back. I was so humiliated about that. Like the class kind of the thinking of that. And I have a very obsessive mind. I actually discovered that I'm autistic this year, by the way. That's another thing I've been kind of reeling from. I learned I was autistic earlier this spring, which is honestly, that explains so much about why I've struggled in the last several years. I've been in severe autistic burnout, and I had no idea. So I'm coming around.
I need to say something to the chat here, real quick. Crust Monk said my favorite thing living in Indiana is the meth heads that are like pro killing drug dealers. It's so nuts. And then Scarab's Feast said, cursing your dealer is normal addict mindset. And I want to agree with Scarab's Feast. If you heard the things that I said about my old drug dealers, I would seem like an enormous asshole. Like if I was still fucking on pain pills, I'd probably be like, yeah, we got to kill all the drug dealers because they fucking suck and they won't answer my calls. But yeah,
well,
I think
they're go ahead.
I just think like the punishment thing is the thing that like fucked us all up, and I think it's the thing that makes us all fucking kind of anxious and shit like that. My daughter is kind of I got Crust Monk wrong, but you know what I mean. I just like being a pro cop criminal. Yeah, I mean that is like a thing that like he was saying like being pro cop, and I'll say this, like I used to when I was out in Gatlinburg, I saw a lot of kill your local drug dealer shirts. So I totally get it. I totally 100% get it. I was just joking around. I just cursing my drug dealer was like 50% of my day back in like 2002 and 3 and 4. But
every
Hank,
bar owner is a drug dealer.
Yeah, they're not too bad. But I'm going to say this.
No, I'm just saying that logic is. Yeah.
Hank, it's been fun talking to you again. You can call back anytime, dude. I like regulars. So you're good, man. You're okay.
You are too. I just let me say, someone in the chat wanted to know about the cat. I have adopted a cat. I rescued this little stray, and I have a lot to say about that. But she's doing great.
Killed it.
She's real sweet.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh, Hank didn't kill
sometimes
his cat.
I fart and I see if she notices. It's really fun.
Does she notice? She noticed you cutting gassers?
Not yet.
There? Okay.
No.
Well, Hank,
I'm
will
on a
talk
good diet.
to you again.
All right.
Feel
Bye,
free
my
to
love.
call anytime. Good night. Good
All right.
night.
Good night. Bye. Ow!
That's fun to hear, Hank. That's fun to hear. That's fun to hear from Hank. Everybody, he's a good old sweetie pie. Took some time off, and now we're all back. We're all back working together. Let's take another call here. Hello there. You are talking to Brian.
Hey, this is Dave in Orlando.
What's up, Dave? How you doing?
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. This is Brian.
This is Brian.
I'm so sorry. I don't know. I'm all over the place, man. First time, long time. Discovered your podcast. I want to congratulate you on a great Shocktober, and I absolutely loved it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It was a fun year. I think the new thing's really fun too. Actually, I just released my first episode of Gut Shot, a podcast where
I've been listening to that. I heard that one. It was amazing.
So
I'm
fun.
excited to see what comes from that.
Dude, how I gotta tell you, it is literally one of the most crazy things to hear a guy bomb in front of an audience that specifically came to see him. It is just, for me, I love doing Shocktober, and I'll always do it. But hearing a guy bomb in front of an audience that came to see him that's like right in my sweet spot. Makes me feel great. So thank you for liking it. I appreciate
that's
that.
one thing that I'm really confused about with the latest episode of Shocktober. I've listened to it, Gutfeld, or what do you call it, Gutshot, whatever it's called.
Yep.
But does he have a live audience in there, or is it like the producers going like whoa or whatever?
No, it's a live audience. That is a live audience. I understand where you're coming from there, thinking it might be what he did on Red Eye. No, he's got a studio audience, and I mean, he's just eating shit. Like, the people that are coming to see him aren't reacting to his jokes because they're bad. They're like not good jokes either.
Right? Yeah, it's not funny. I'm familiar with the environment. That's awesome that they're just like pulling people from Craigslist to come see this guy's show in New York.
Yeah. I got somebody asked what Shocktober is. Liam in the chat said, what is Shocktober? Go to patreon.com/streetfightradio. Shocktober is a yearly thing that I do as a season. I do a season every October, and I do a couple of episodes. I do episodes every few months during the year, and I'm going to start doing more streams of it. But I don't know how old you are, Liam, or where you're from, but there were radio DJs in the United States that were all over the country called shock jocks, and they were just extremely fucking like offensive and nasty guys. And I cover 5 or 6 of them every year and kind of just talk about them and what makes them nasty. So, yeah. So that's all. That's what Shocktober is. Street Fight, patreon.com/streetfightradio. And I promise you'll like it. It's very fun. Even if you've never heard of a shock jock ever, and you don't know what it is, I think that like people who had never heard of them before, they end up being like, these are some fucking insane guys. I didn't even know this was happening. So that's all. That's my pitch. And I think people will like it. But yeah,
I called in to talk about the pitch. No. Specifically, the last episode of Shocktober, Mancow, everybody loves him. And I wanted to bring something up that I feel like you glazed over or missed. I don't know. But interesting thing in preparing for this phone call, it looks like Mancow has scrubbed all his, what is it called? Monday Morning Madness, and they're gone. Thankfully, he left
think he
the
moved
one.
them.
So I want to point. Excuse me?
I think he moved to Rumble. I listened to a lot of them on Rumble this year. He seems to be saying that he can't work on YouTube anymore because of all the censorship. The third in charge at Yelp told him that he has never seen such shadow banning as it is with him. So he's putting the new stuff up. You got to go to Mancow's Microaggressions and then go to videos.
Yeah,
and,
I went there and I was looking. Tonight I was looking there, and I'm like, I got to bring up this one one little clip, and thankfully it's the one that's still left up from what I've seen, and it's like Robert Davi, I believe, the guy that made the Hunter's Laptop movie, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And the most amazing thing to me that you missed out is that he's fucking hitting a bowl in the first 3 minutes. Like this guy's a radio professional, yet he's on camera smoking some weed, And it's like I'm cool with it, but like it's like this jerk you got working in Florida doing your video and audio and shit. It's like this guy's been a radio broadcaster for like how many years? You know, I remember listening to him on 9/11, and it's like, okay, and then here he is smoking some weed.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think he's trying to be cool there. He likes to show that he smokes weed. He brings it up sometimes. I think the
I
thing that
disagree. I
frustrates
disagree
me,
completely. I think it's like it's just bad production.
Sure, yeah. Well, this guy in Florida doesn't know what he's doing. I will say that. Nudie. I think he's just a fan, and that's one of the things I find funny about the cow is that he could afford to hire somebody to do the job, but I guarantee this dude's doing it for free. So,
No,
yeah.
I totally agree. But I just wanted to point your listeners to that. It's like it's he again. I checked his YouTube channel during Shocktober, and now all the videos are gone. And there's this one, and it still highlights the point that I wanted to make on this show. It's like, oh, cool. You pulled all the bad ones and then left that one up.
Yeah, the weed one. Yeah. Well, yeah, he's
Well,
he did pull a lot of
he's just
them.
taking
Holy
a hit
shit.
before like it seems to be every show is like that, but that was like the most offending incident, I should say.
Yeah, I'm looking. He did take a lot of them off. Thanks for hipping me to that. Now I'm gonna have to go download them all from Rumble so I don't miss out next time. He's been reply
Yeah,
guying
dude. You
Elon
think
Musk
he
too.
heard your show?
No, nah. He is one that I believe Anthony Cumia probably knows about the show. I believe.
Oh,
that,
I see.
Yeah, there's a few of them, but I don't think Mancow gives a shit about me or
I love it, man, dude. I messaged you when I subscribed to that Patreon, man. I want that Turd 316 shirt.
Okay, well, maybe I'll send it to you. Just remind me. I got to go get it. It's at the office. I haven't brought it home yet. But
whatever you find it, man.
Yeah. Well, thanks for calling.
And again, I'm sorry to hear about the break-in incident and all that kind of stuff, man. It stinks.
That's okay. I'll be all right. We'll live. But yeah, it did suck. It did suck quite a bit. So, all right, I'm gonna take this next call. You have a pleasant.
Yeah, man. That's all I
evening.
got. Take her easy. Bye-bye.
Peace. All right, everybody. This is the last call. I freed up the line. If you want to call, I'll probably get to you. But we'll see what this call gets up to. Hello, you're talking to Brian. You're the last caller. So if you're on the phone, you're the one that's up.
Hey, what's up, Brian? It's Greg from Phoenix.
What's up, Greg? How's it going? From where?
From Phoenix. We've talked a few times before on Twitter.
I swear to you on my life, I swear to you, I thought you said Venus. And I was like, I just wanted to make sure because I was going to goof on you if you said Venus. But then you said Phoenix.
No. Yeah.
Well, at first I thought you said Venus. And then after I thought you said Venus, I thought you said penis. And then my brain was Phoenix.
Oh, wow.
And, technically we're all from a penis. So.
Well, what's kind of funny is I was recently at a K-pop concert with my wife. I took her for her birthday because she's into, K-pop music. And the K-pop musicians on stage, when they were talking about Phoenix, one of them called it Penix, and it sounded exactly like penis in front of, the stadium of like 15,000 people. And everyone just completely lost their shit and started cracking up. It's ATEEZ. It's like kind of more of a punk, I guess, Korean pop band. But yeah.
I'm in a chat with a bunch of K-pop fans.
Oh, really? That's funny. Yeah. I'm not like a huge K-pop fan, but I enjoy any live music. It's all a good show. It's still entertaining.
Oh yeah, I'd go see any band. Well, that's not true. You know what? If I was in my 20s, I'd have gone and seen I've seen Rush in concert. Like, you just imagine me standing at a Rush concert. It's wild to even think about. But But yeah,
I mean,
I
she's
mean,
into way different
I'm
kind of music than me, but it's good to always expand your horizons, that kind of stuff.
yeah, me and my wife are into different shit. I mean, she likes some of the same stuff, but like she's more into like regular ass music, like the classic rock shit. Right before I came to record, I went in the bathroom and she was listening to These Eyes by the Guess Who. So
Oh yeah.
she's a huge fucking just that kind of thing. But I do know a band, and I do have a bunch of friends that listen to K-pop. They like Blackpink and BTS. And what we have in common is wrestling. We like wrestling. But yeah, I know a few K-pop fans, and I'm always just like, have I heard of them? Have I heard of the band that you saw? And no, I have not.
That's fine. I hadn't heard of them either until I went to the concert. But yeah, I was calling in. I had a Dare story. If you're interested.
I am. I'm absolutely interested in a Dare story.
I haven't heard one on the show in a while, so I figured I'd call in with my one I have. Is when I was a kid, I was going to I was in elementary school in the 90s, and Dare was huge, and the Dare officer came to the school and did the whole speech and watched the cartoon with the rabbit dripping on acid and all that stuff. But then we all had to write an essay about like why we're going to stay off drugs, why we're not going to do drugs. And this was, I don't remember exactly because I was so young, but I know it was either second or third grade I was in. And I was a very poor student. I was like barely passing. My mom was worried I was going to get like held behind or something. And I'd later learned that I gotten tested for ADD and like been diagnosed with it, but she didn't want to put me on medication. She just never told me until I was like 25. But yeah, I had to write this essay, but I couldn't do it. So she had my sister do it for me, who's 1 year older than me, who she's like was a really good student. She's an honor roll student in every class. But she wrote this essay for me, and I turned it in and got an A+, and my teacher was stoked about it because, I wasn't a very good student to begin with. And it got entered into a contest for like the whole county, and it won first place. So I had to go to this other elementary school and read it to this giant like auditorium full of people who were all there. And I was, not very old, so it was very nerve-wracking because, I was like, the whole time I was like, isn't this wrong? And my parents were just like, just do it. Come on,
It's just Dare.
So,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
that's the thing. It's just Dare.
They were like,
It
just
don't
do it. It
count.
doesn't matter.
Yeah, none of this counts.
But it was very funny. I had to read this whole like essay that my sister wrote and to this whole crowd of people, and the end of it is like, I'm going to dare to stay off drugs. But yeah, I didn't end up staying off drugs later in life, but
I wouldn't write
that's my one dare story.
I don't think I wrote the essay. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think we had sort of the same thing, but I think I either skipped writing the essay or I did. I was like really weird. When I was in 5th grade, I think I knew I was going to do drugs. Like, there wasn't this thing that I don't think I was ever in my mind like, I'm going to stay away from those. Like immediately
I think I
when
was
I heard
like, I was as a little kid, and I think Dare changed that because when I saw like the rabbit was like going to this crazy rainbow wonderland, I was like, whoa, I thought drugs was like, if you do them, you just die, because that's what my parents had told me at that point.
that is
like
fucking
Dare is
wild. I don't think I
whoa,
saw
what is this?
I don't think I saw the Dare rabbit. I'm looking it up right now because no, not Rare, Dare. All right, I'm looking it up here.
I think it was a rabbit. I don't know. I'm going off my memory. I just remember this. There was definitely a cartoon about like that was Dare that was trying to get you to stay off drugs, and
I see it.
There was some
Holy
like cartoon
fuck.
character tempting the children.
Holy fuck! I found a bunch of them. We're gonna have to watch one of these soon. We'll watch one of these on a stream because I don't think I ever saw the Dare anti-drug cartoon. Maybe it came
Oh,
out
it's wild,
like
man.
after,
You gotta watch it.
but I see it.
Yeah, 'cause I
The
know you're a bit
cartoons.
older than me, so it might have been a few years after you were out of the schools or whatnot.
Yeah, there could have been a few different ones too that like I don't I mean maybe I missed one. There's a bunch of them. There's the boy who was swallowed by the drug monster, the Dare Rabbit cartoon. Yeah, there's a few of them. We'll take a look at one of those one week. I think maybe I'll pop in here and we'll fucking watch one of those because I've never heard of it, but it sounds incredible. If it's a rabbit doing psychedelics, and that was one of the big mistakes of Dare. I think there's two mistakes I think of Dare. One, unnecessary actually in 5th grade to tell kids that there's these medicines or these
Completely
things out there.
unnecessary.
Yeah, but like, what do I got to know about heroin? You know, and it's like, so they're telling you that that's the first like completely unnecessary thing because you're almost hipping me to it, and they always did make it seem fun. Like they always made it like you said, they go to a rainbow place and all this stuff's going on. It's like, why wouldn't I want to feel that way? I don't fucking get it, and I think I just. You know, they sort of hipped me to what it was and what it was going to be. And I think in my mind, I was just like, I got to try it. I at least got to try it. You know, maybe I'm not going to do it my whole
of
life,
course.
but I want to try it.
At least once, right? Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But
so,
yeah,
and I did.
No, I was
But,
calling in. I was actually on call today for my work, but the weather is so nice here. There's no calls, so I just got to chill at home all day, which is nice. Got a
You get
bunch of
paid like
errands done,
$100.
you know, that kind of stuff.
yeah, and do you
Well,
get
the way
paid
my
for
job
being on call?
I don't get paid unless I get called in, but I get an extra $50 per call or something like that. So,
we
I get
got paid
hourly,
like
which
I don't remember what we got, like $80 a day, $80 a day or $50 a day or some shit. And then our regular rate. So it was kind of nice.
Well, the nice
nice.
thing about my current job is the only on-call we have is we all rotate Sundays, so you have to work like one Sunday a month, but you're only on call from like 8 to 4. You're not, you don't have to go out in the middle of the night or whatever, anything like that. And there's no other days where last place I worked did like, try to call you at 10 o'clock at night and get you out to run calls and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's how it was at the cable company. It's like you had to be available at 1 a.m. It's like, this is bullshit. I ain't doing this.
Oh yeah,
I didn't really.
And I know, were you talking about it was like piece rate for the cable company too?
No, I didn't make piece rate. I was hourly. But right before I started, it was piece rate, and the guys that worked for piece rate were always like, "Man, it's fucking sick working for piece rate. This new hourly thing sucks. I'm not making as much money." And I was like, I always fucking miss out on the cool shit.
Oh really? The last job I had was piece rate, but it was like kind of shitty because you would only get 1 hour for like a call, and you're expected to be there at least during an hour or so, but you weren't paid for driving in between any of the calls, and you'd have like 45-minute drives, so you'd work like 8 hours, and unless you made commissions on stuff, you didn't get paid anything. But
that's fucking
yeah,
nuts.
a lot of places here are all just super commission based and piece rate, where like I know a place I was looking at when I was applying for different jobs was paying $65 an hour, but then when I went to the interview, they're like, "Oh, it's piece rate," and I was like, "Well, how much do you get paid for a call?" And they were like, 15 minutes.
Yeah, and you could make $65 an hour. It's
Yeah,
conceivable
you could.
that it could
Yeah.
happen, but you're not going to. Well,
But no, the whole
thank you for
piece rate
calling
thing
in.
is a huge scam. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I
for
hate
sure,
it.
man. It was
I'm gonna,
it was
I'm
good
gonna
talking to you, and
It was nice to talk to you. I'm gonna get this. I got another call, so we're gonna take this call, and I'm gonna go to bed.
right. Talk to you later, man.
Bye. All right, Hoppin. What's up?
Hey, Brian, this is Nathan calling from Oregon.
What's up, Nathan? How's it going in Oregon?
Oh, pretty well. It's dry, but that means we don't have the cloud blanket, so that means it's fucking freezing.
And it's cold here too. It's like 28 degrees, so I get it.
Yeah. Well, the reason I called is a little Shocktober inspiration.
Let's hear it.
So, like you, listening to Rush and listening to Stern in your cable car, when I was doing maintenance on draft beer lines in Austin, Texas, I had to drive from bar to bar, spend a lot of time in my car, and in Austin at the time, Alex Jones was the daytime call-in. And so the thing that I love about your show, I listen to Majority Report, and what you, Alex Jones, and Majority Report all have in common is you take calls.
Yeah.
And
it's nice.
That's just my thing. So, anyways, that show's only 3 hours long, and there's all sorts of other crazy shit on the station after old AJ goes off the air. And so I just wanted to see if you're familiar with any of the kind of smaller call-in shows that aren't necessarily in the shock jock milieu. One of them that I particularly had in mind was a show called Rule of Law Radio, which was this crazy. It was this a sovereign citizen law show that basically just told people how to use admiralty law to beat foreclosures or evictions.
I'm looking at it. The DJs look sick.
Yeah.
Randy Kelton, Deborah
yeah.
Stevens, and Eddie Craig.
Oh my God!
Randy
So they're
Kelton.
just excellent crank energy. So they didn't have they didn't have the same comic energy as your man cows and such does, but they do have plenty of cuckoo ideas themselves and callers.
I might have to listen to this. I might have to give it a listen one of these days, because these guys look exactly like the type of people I'd like to hear. Reclaiming our future with scripture, truth, law, fundamental principles, and comedy. Oh, comedy. All right. You got me. You fucking got me, Rule of Law. And it's a member of the Logos Radio Network. So that's a pretty famous one. So Alex Jones was on a community radio station like me. I don't think we are anymore.
Oh yeah, man. He was on his tower got moved twice when I was in there, because they just the people stopped carrying him. By the time I left Austin, I think he was essentially pirate on his AM and FM. Some rich dentist just let him put a transceiver on his office building in the West Hills.
That's pretty cool. I mean the way. Oh my God, help us achieve our goal. Give me 1 second here, Jason. Can I share my screen? All right, I'm about to share my screen so you guys can all see this, because it's a pretty incredible website that I think you're all gonna love. All right, so we're all good, Jason. Everybody can see what I'm doing here. Oh, there it is. There it is. We're here. They can see it. I can see. Oh, it went behind me, maybe. Oh, I know what happened. I was in there checking on it. Now they can see it. Pretty cool website here. They got Youngevity Pro Line. But the thing I wanted everybody to see is help us achieve our goal for the Logos Radio Network fundraiser by participating in our $1 per month challenge. First place, I think it's a fundraiser. I can't really figure it out. First place, Spike's Tactical AR-15, sponsored by Central Texas Gunworks. The Logos Challenge. Who can't afford $1? If only a small fraction of our listeners donate $1 per month, we could easily reach our goal. If only a small number donated $3 to $5 per month, we could expand. So I think they're giving out guns, it feels like, or some sort of thing. It is a pretty wild website here, the Logos Radio Network. So I don't know. If y'all want to get involved with that, you can see what it's like. But that's incredible. I need to look at that more.
That sounds like the best way to defend against a foreclosure, if you ask me.
It is good. You just get the gun. It's a gun cast. Some Scarab's Feast in the chat said gun casting. It's pretty fucking wild. Wow. We got to look at the Logos Radio now. I'm going to have to learn about these fucking people. It's LOGOS. It's the worst website anybody's ever seen in their entire life. It is. I just can't tell you how bad it is. But, there's forums in it, though. Oh, forms, not forums. Forms. Jurisdictionary. How to win in court without a lawyer. Oh, no. Hey, don't do that, everybody out there.
Oh, I think that's of course. I think the Logos Dictionary is his, the courses that he sells.
Oh, man. Yeah, that sounds like some cool shit that I should probably find out about. Maybe I'm going to try to listen to some of it.
I had a feeling he'd be into it.
Yeah, I'm going to try to listen to some of it, maybe play some. I have I already recorded this week's Shocktober Street Fight, so because I didn't want to work on Thanksgiving. But the week after that, I have Adam Hudson from Citations Needed. Maybe I can cut some clips and me and him can listen to it and goof on it. It'll be fun. Because that was some pretty wild shit. I've never seen a website like that.
Oh, yeah.
So,
well, I mean, speaking of Adam, a lot of those guys have crossover with Pacifica Radio Network in New York. So you'll hear some of the same speakers on Pacifica as you will on Logos.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, is Pacifica's left, though, right?
It is, but there's Randy Credico, and I got mixed feelings about the guy, but he's definitely pure crank energy from that guy, and he's on Pacifica. Yeah. So there's a big crossover in those DJs.
That is so fucking cool. I mean, yeah, I think we're gonna. Well, I'll see if I can get some of this and play it with Adam because I think he would get a kick out of doing that stuff. I think it's gonna be extremely wild for me and him to do a show together because I don't know. He's a good guy. He's fun. This week is Jane from Batting Around podcast, and we had a lot of fun listening to. I think it was. This week's show is a PragerU Kids thing, how to be a conscious patriot or something like that. And we played the whole thing. It's very funny. It is extremely, extremely unself-aware stuff. So it's going to be great. I think it's going to be it's going to be real fun. I think the next few shows, everybody's going to really love them. And, I'm going to find out about the Logos Radio Network. You have fully, I don't have to listen to anything. I don't have to do anything. 69 XXX fun in the chat. Find love in your city. Jason's, here it comes. Is everybody getting horny now?